If you're sick and tired of always gaining fat after coming back from a vacation, probably looking like Jabba the Hutt and having to go on another crash diet and let the yo-yo diet cycle continue, then I'd like to tell you how I was able to binge during the holidays without any fat gain. If you didn't already know, my name's Nick and I went from this to this, where I finally saw abs and transformed my body from being a kid who'd been through endless dieting and initially hated sport and exercise and taking care of myself. And now I'm at the point where I love fitness and creating a steep transformation for myself and all the guys I work with. But here's how I spent my birthday week on vacation, eating whatever I want and not gain any extra body fat. After coming home from a 10-day Bali trip where I really enjoyed myself and ate out almost every single night, I was around 160 pounds, shredded, diced actually, and I guess some would argue anorexic almost. This was the first time that I'd ever gotten lean, and I really just wanted to be as defined as possible. And after digging into tasty food every night, sweets, ice cream, chicken, chips, burgers, you name it, anything and everything, I was hopping on the scale when I came back and I weighed just about the same, 161 pounds. Now I want to pretense this video by saying I don't condone binge eating behaviors or any of that type of stuff. If you do suffer from those type of struggles with food and you struggle with your relationship with food, like I previously did in the past, then seeking a qualified health professional that is specialized in that would be a good idea. Personally, I'm a sports nutrition coach, so that wouldn't be my expertise, but I definitely recommend you talk to someone about this. Now, for those people who aren't from that block of the woods and just want to have a good night out and eat what they want and enjoy foods with friends and family, then these are the 4 key factors that I used and habits that I implemented every single day and not gain extra body fat when I came home. Number 1 is intermittent fasting. So fasting is basically the time in between meals. When you're not eating or feeding, you are fasting. We are in always 2 states when it comes to eating or not eating food, feeding or fasting. Intermittent fasting is when you have periods of time where you do not eat. Now for some people, this can be 8 hours, 12 hours, or most of the day. Some people do 16 hours where they fast, and then 8 hours of the day where they feed. And this works for people who maybe aren't hungry in the morning or maybe aren't hungry at nighttime, which there's not many people who aren't hungry at nighttime. That's kind of when cravings kick in for most people. But you can essentially pick a window and it allows you to eat more food in a smaller time frame, allowing you to feel like you're binging, but you're not actually. In reality, you're just having the calories that you need to maintain your weight. And when you eat a lot of food in a small amount of time, it fills you up and you feel full as hell. And you don't feel like you're dieting. That's one benefit of intermittent fasting. Some people can't really handle intermittent fasting because they like to eat and they feel like big amounts of hunger in the morning and they just got to get rid of it. They just got to chow down a nice morning feed. But if you do want to go out to dinner and you're on vacation, or maybe it's just a special occasion, then you might have to suck it up for the holidays where you just don't eat much in the morning, or you just skip breakfast, or you skip the first 2 meals of the day, and you save the calories that you're gonna eat for nighttime. So for the days in Bali where I was eating a crap ton, I would fast until about 1 p.m. So that would be the equivalent to about a 16-hour fast. Now, some people are crazy and they do alternate day fasting, which is basically like you don't eat anything for one day, and then the next day you eat the amount of food that you were gonna eat the previous day, but double because you missed a day. So you're essentially eating double the food to maintain your body weight in one day. That sounds pretty fun to me, but also some people just don't want to put up with that stuff. So I'd recommend starting out with your intermittent fasting with a 12-hour feeding window, 12-hour fasting, or perhaps 16-hour fasting, 8-hour feeding. Now, it's not some magical body hack. It's not something that gets your IGF growth hormone levels through the roof like these guru scientists are saying. It's actually not that special of a diet method. It's just a way for you to control calorie intake, and that's about it. I actually wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to gain weight and gain muscle, but if you're trying to coastline and if you're just taking time off and you just don't want to gain body fat, or you just don't really want to lose fat, or maybe you do want to lose fat, but you got a lot of calories to spare, then this is a good way to allow you to eat tons at nighttime with friends and family. The second habit that I stuck to whilst I was on vacation that helped me maintain muscle mass and keep hunger in check was making sure I prioritized protein. Now, this would consist of me eating a protein-only meal in the morning. Now, this is kind of modified from intermittent fasting. So when I did intermittent fasting, I didn't exactly not have any calories during my fasting window in the morning, at least, because I would work out in the morning at the resort gym that was provided, and after that I would have a protein only meal. Now, this is just a simple shake with protein powder and water. Mix it up, tastes great, and then maybe some scrambled egg whites. Having protein only in the morning can offset your hunger and still allow you to not feel ravagingly like hungry before your night out or your big meal that you're saving up for. So if you want to do it, I'd definitely recommend taking a tub of protein or buying a tub of protein wherever you're at vacation and basically mixing it with water and having a protein shake, or just dry scooping it. Just be a fucking rebel. And that's a good way to maintain muscle if you are prioritizing that, and also offset hunger, because protein takes effort to break down in the stomach, and it's not just something for building muscle, it's also something for maintaining hunger levels and keeping them at a minimum. The third habit, which I'd implement about a few hours before the big meal, the binge meal that I'd have at night time and just, splurge on whatever food I wanted, is that I'd have a protein dense and high fiber meal that is relatively moderate, if not pretty small, hours before this so-called binge eating session. Now, this is something that I basically use to load up, stay full, stay content and calm, and was something that helped me not go crazy when I was eating out, and actually made me feel pretty content eating until I was full. Because when I was obese as a kid, I would always overeat, and I would actually eat until stomach pain rather than stomach fullness, which is something that people often misalign with each other, especially if they started out obese. They don't really know the right point to hold themselves back. Now, of course, everyone does kind of hold themselves back to some point, otherwise we'd all be 600 pounds or something, but we don't hold ourselves back enough to be in a healthy body weight. That's why we get obese and fat, and that's why we have to fix everything and not feel guilty when we're going on vacation, just like why I'm making this video right now. Some people struggle with weight, and fat loss can be difficult for some people, and fat gain can be just something that some people don't feel like they have control over. But that's why I'm making this video right now for you guys. Now, the protein and fiber dense meals that I'd have would be maybe something that is like a chicken salad, but without added dressing. You want to make sure that there's no added fats or other added calories in this meal. Just make it very, very simple. Perhaps just a fruit bowl or a fruit smoothie bowl. Something that's dense in fiber, low on the glycemic index, which is basically the rate at which the carbs that it digested are basically turned into glucose in the bloodstream. For this meal, we want to make sure that the glycemic index of these foods is as low as possible. Fruits that you want to avoid that are low in fiber and high in GI would be bananas. I would probably stay away from watermelon because it is pretty fast absorbing, and some people won't find it as filling, but if you do, then hey, no one got too fat from eating too much watermelon. But berries are a great option, and mixing that with a protein source, perhaps having another protein shake, would work fine, and it would make sure that your calorie intake by the time dinner comes around, if that's when you have your so-called binge session, that your calorie intake has been pretty much like 200, 300, 400 calories so far. So you have tons of calories. No matter how much you weigh or how many calories you burn during the day, you'll still have tons of calories for the eating out session. And the fourth habit that you can use, but hopefully not abuse, is caffeine and coffee. I'd recommend taking this around 90 minutes after waking. Maybe you wake up and you go for a morning walk, check out the sights of this holiday that you're on, or maybe just chill at home, or go to the gym and have a session on the treadmill, whatever you fancy. But basically anything to get you moving and get you starting to burn fat. Now, pairing caffeine with this will have a thermogenic effect, as caffeine can stimulate your energy and help you burn more calories whilst doing no extra activity, it seems. But in reality, caffeine and coffee does help you burn more calories even when you're not actively exercising, because it basically boosts your non-exercise activity. So let's say you tap your feet when sitting at a desk, or you bop your head when you're listening to music. you'll be more jittery, more active, your muscles will be moving more, you'll be more energized, allowing you to burn slightly more calories throughout the day because of the caffeine intake. And caffeine also has a double effect of not allowing you to feel as hungry, and it actually suppresses the appetite. And in the morning, when you're not eating as much food and you're probably only eating protein like we recommended with the earlier habits, is very, very key in making sure that you can actually stick to an intermittent fasting protocol if you find it difficult. And for coffee choices, I'd only recommend things like black coffee with artificial sweeteners or just any added sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners are not bad, by the way. They're good because they have no calories and they add the same amount of sweetness, and the chemicals that you hate in them are not toxic unless you literally suffocate yourself with them and die before toxicity hits you. So side note, artificial sweeteners are good for you. Moving on. Make sure to add non-calorie dense coffees like Americanos, just black coffee, things without cream, without butter, without any of that, and just allow that to help suppress your appetite and give you more energy throughout the day to help you when it comes to suppressing your hunger and allowing you to sustain the intermittent fasting protocol until the binge session happens. Now, these 4 nutrition habits that I implemented were able to help me enjoy foods that I loved whilst I was on vacation, eating out every single night, and feel like I'm not restricting myself, being able to eat good food whilst I'm out with friends and family and enjoying life, all while not packing on the pounds. Now, bro, if you struggle with getting a lean physique, reaching the peak of your potential, and actually transforming your identity from someone who maybe isn't in the best shape, maybe is addicted to video games, maybe isn't so confident around women and feel like they are attractive, then I would highly recommend that you join the free school community linked in the top line in the description to basically climb the mountain of fitness, shed that stubborn belly fat with the protocol for nutrition and training that are built in to the group with the community alongside that, along with the accountability that you get from like-minded guys, monthly group Q&A calls where we talk about fitness, nutrition, self-improvement, and grow together in helping you reach your dream physique. I hope you got value from knowing how I was able to binge eat during the holidays and not gain any extra fat. And remember, leave no more lost potential.